Imagine a world without AI-powered tools like ChatGPT and self-driving cars. None of this would be possible without the powerful chips designed by companies like Nvidia.
Hey, you're talking about Nvidia?
I am. Do you want to share something with us?
Yeah, sure. So, do you know that Nvidia was founded in 1993 with pure GPU technology initial for gaming today?
Not just that, GPUs are the engine of modern AI. It enables parallel processing for machine learning.
So the purpose is analyze Nvidia's strategy through microeconomy issues. To understand Nvidia dominance, we must examine the market it operates in.
Okay, let's go and find out more about Nvidia.
Let's go.
Come with us.
Hello everyone, I'm here seeking 500 million in exchange for 5% equity in my company. With your help, we will bring competition back to AI hardware and take a slice of this $1 trillion market.
Wait, 500 million? That's adorable. We spent 8.7 billion just on R&D last year. You sure you didn't mean 5 billion?
Also, do you have a chip design team or a software stack or any exclusive partnership with TSMC or Samsung?
Or let me guess, you're going to take out in your garage?
Look, RJD is a tough market, but AI is booming. And there's demand for more than just Nvidia. Competition is healthy, right? Plus, we are designing for energy efficiency and affordability. Something small players cannot do that.
Sure, but there's a reason we call this an imperfect market, right? In an oligopoly, a few players dominate and they stay dominant.
Nvidia has over 80% over the AI GPU market. The rest is crap. You think customers are just waiting to abandon CUDA and switch to your what?
Utopia, API.
API?
Yes.
Now let's talk about barriers. R&D, you're underfunded. Patents, you'll get sued. Foundries, TSMC doesn't take what in. Market, can we take a walk or go somewhere else?
Yeah, sure, let's go. Yes. Okay, but tech history is full of underdogs. Apple, AMD, and even you guys are disruptors into incumbent ones.
Sure, but that
Yes.
was then. Now, the cost of entry isn't just high, it's strategic.
Okay.
Okay. Let me explain first.
Alright.
This isn't just fight over specs, but it is actually ecosystem and locked in. Nvidia didn't win because of their chips better, right?
Yes, sure.
But they built CUDA, like AI technologies, right? So that makes their developer dependent.
Oh, sure. Okay. So you are saying this is an oligopoly?
Bingo! New
Oh.
firms, big power. And here's the twist. We are all interdependent. If every time we launch a chip, AMD responds. Every time AMD price low, we tweak ours.
Hey, remember when Nvidia dropped the H100 and we had to cut like MI300 prices by 15% just to stay in the game? That's not war. That's actually strategy.
What is Nvidia's H100 chip and what makes it so special? The H100 chip is named after science pioneer Grace Hopper. It is a graphics processor that is bigger than a normal GPU that's in our everyday computers. It was built to process vast volumes of data and computation at high speeds, which is exactly what powerful AI models need. Generative AI platforms learn to complete tasks such as translating text, summarizing reports, and synthesizing images by training on a huge number of pre-existing material. They develop through trial and error, making billions of attempts to perfect itself, and this requires huge amounts of computing power. Nvidia in the early 2000s realized that their chips could be retooled for other applications by dividing tasks into smaller groups and working them at the same time. Chips didn't have to be only for graphics, and that gamble paid off because AI is that other application and it's going to revolutionize the world. And now Nvidia are not planning on letting their dominance go, because in 2024 they plan on releasing the H200 and B100 chips that are thought to be twice as fast as the groundbreaking
generative AI and large language models have changed the landscape, okay? The need for more compute is growing exponentially, whether you're talking about training or, frankly, whether you're talking about inference. Larger models give you better accuracy, and there's a tremendous amount of experimentation and development that's coming across in the industry, and you heard that from both Sumit and Clem. At the center of this are GPUs. GPUs are enabling generative AI, so now let me turn to our Instinct GPU roadmap. CDNA is the underlying architecture for our Instinct accelerators. It's designed specifically for AI and HPC workloads. CDNA3 is our brand new architecture that uses a new compute engine, the latest data formats, 5 and 6 nanometer process technology, and the most advanced chiplet packaging technologies. At CES earlier this year, we previewed MI300A. It's the world's first data center APU. And what we have is our CDNA3 GPU architecture with 24 high-performance Zen 4 CPU cores. Now, these are the exact same cores in our leadership Genoa processors that I talked about earlier in the show. And we also add with that 128 gigabytes of HBM3 memory, all in a single package. And what we have is unified memory across the CPU and GPU, which is frankly very effective, particularly for some HPC workloads. Now, this results in 8 times more performance and 5 times better efficiency compared to the MI250X accelerator that is in the largest supercomputers today. Now, MI300A has also been designed into supercomputers already, and it's slated for the 2+ exaflop El Capitan system at Lawrence Livermore National Labs. It's the most complex chip we've ever built, with more than 146 billion transistors across 13 chiplets. Now, you guys know we've led the industry with the use of chiplets in our products. And our use of chiplets in this product is actually very, very strategic. We created a family of products. So in addition to the MI300A product, with our chiplet construction, we can actually replace the 3 Zen 4 CPU chiplets with 2 additional CDNA3 chiplets to create a GPU-only version of MI300, optimized for large language models and AI. We call this MI300X. Now, for MI300X, to address the larger memory requirements of large language models, we actually added an additional 64 gigabytes of HBM3 memory. I am super excited to show you, for the very first time, MI300X.
And no one wants a price war, so we dance carefully.
Wait, are you saying this is turns to pollution?
No. That would be illegal. We don't collude. We just coexist, you know? The tactic coordination.
Oh, so we are playing on the same chessboard and no one wants to flip the table. As long as profit stays high, everyone's happy.
Wow, so you are saying the game is staked. I don't just need capital, I need an ecosystem. So first step, perhaps partnership and develop equality, loyalty.
Bingo! And even then, Nvidia has Azure, AWS, Meta, and everyone else on speed dial, and you're not just breaking into a market, you're breaking into an oligopoly fortress.
And the door's locked. Look, we admire your vision, but unless you've got billions, or CUDA killer and large plans with Satya Nadella,
You're out before your end.
This isn't a pitch. It's a power game. Welcome to the world of imperfect competition. Before we go to theoretical models applied, let's see the Nvidia company report first.
Welcome to the summary of Nvidia's fiscal 2025, a year defined by explosive growth in AI, accelerated computing, and innovation. In this overview, we will explore the key financial highlights, segment performance, business milestones, and how Nvidia's delivered exceptional returns to shareholders. As shown in the first image, Nvidia achieved revenue of $130.5 billion, an increase of 114% year-on-year. This was driven primarily by strong data center performance, powered by Hopper architecture, Ethernet for AI, and generative AI applications. Growth margins reached 70%, up 2.3 points. Operating income skyrocketed 147% to $81.5 billion, and diluted EPS increased to $2.94, also up to 147%. Nvidia's report two main segments, compute and networking, and graphics. Compute and networking brought in 116.2 billion in revenue, up 145%, and 82.9 billion in operating income. Graphics revenue was 14.3 billion, up just 6%, and operating declined by 13%. We also see performance by market platform. Data center led with 115.2 billion in revenue, up 142%. Gaming revenue was 11.4 billion, up 9%. Professional visualization rose 21% to 1.9 billion. Automotive surged 55% to 1.7 billion. As shown in the second image, fiscal 2025 was also a year of strategic breakthrough. Mass production began for Nvidia Blackwell, purpose-built for agentic AI. The GeForce RTX 50 series was launched, blending AI with next-gen graphics. Nvidia Ethernet for AI scaled with Spectrum X and NVLink. Automotive growth was fueled by Nvidia Drive. With future ramps-ups expected, the company launched Project Groot and Cosmos World Foundation to advance AI and robotic platforms. Nvidia delivered massive return to shareholders. As visualized, total shareholder return reached 134% over 1 year, 525% over 3 years, and a staggering 2,187 over 5 years. In total, $56.2 billion was returned through stock repurchases and dividends, with $34 billion in just the past year. In conclusion, fiscal 2025 was a defining year for Nvidia, driven by innovation, AI demand, and disciplined execution. With strong segment growth, exceptional shareholder returns, and visionary leadership, Nvidia is well positioned to lead the future of AI computing. Thank you for listening.
Babe, I'm so curious about what they are talking about. I think they were talking about Nvidia. Come on, let's go find out.
Hi everyone, today we are diving into the Stackelberg model. A super cool concept in microeconomics which explains how companies compete with each other but not all at the same time.
Wait, what? Companies don't compete with each other at the same time? That's kind of sneaky.
Exactly. It makes the Stackelberg model different from each other, which they have the leader and also the follower. Let me explain. So, the leader, they decide to produce first, right?
Yep.
And then also they have the follower. The follower will observe what the leader does and then they will decide what they want to do afterwards.
So you're saying that followers just copy what the leader does?
It's not copy, it's respond strategically. You're reacting to what I do, trying to make the best of the situation.
This is what we call a sequential decision-making process. The leader moves first and often ends up with a competitive advantage because they can plan ahead, anticipating how the followers will react.
But wait, how do we know this actually works in real life?
Let's talk about Nvidia.
And with that, Nvidia sets the pace, the performance, the innovation, even the pricing. And AMD will also watch their strategies and will adjust due to the Nvidia strategy.
And here's the catch. Both firms, they want to maximize the profit and they know the rules of the game, like the demand curve and also market behavior.
And remember, the follower is no fool. They have a best response function, a smart reaction based on what the leader does.
So, the big takeaway is...
And if you move first and move fast,
You can shape the whole market, and if you're the follower,
you better be fast, be strategic, and ready to adapt. And that's the stackable model.
and that's the general one. Let's dive even more deeper. Now, I'll show you how Nvidia exemplified the Stackelberg leader.
In 2012, a program known as AlexNet, named for Alex Krzyzewski, dominated, and it was written using a very efficient GPU implementation on Nvidia hardware.
When Nvidia releases a product like H100 GPU, others will react. AMD and Intel often delays their launch until Nvidia set the product, like we have explained before.
CUDA is the Nvidia's software platform, deeply integrated into AI development. It creates high switching costs just like Apple's ecosystem.
Nvidia ambition go beyond chips. It's built AI supercomputers, cloud platform, and even try accurate up. This shows its intent to dominate the AI value chain.
Nvidia is the clearest real-world example of Stackelberg leader. How they react, how they set their price means the whole example of Stackelberg.
So, the Stackelberg model shows how Nvidia is a market leader. They make the first move and everyone just follows them. That sounds really neat and powerful.
But in real life, things get a bit messier. Let's talk about how Nvidia limitations of the model when it comes to Nvidia strategy. First, the Stackelberg models assume that all firms are sell identical products, but that's not true for the Nvidia. Nvidia GeForce cards are more made for gamers. H100s are for AI supercomputers, and Jetsons for robotics. Totally different users, and wildly different price points. So, it's not just about how much, but how much they produce. It's about what they produce and for what it's for. That's something Stackelberg doesn't capture.
Second, Stackelberg assumes competition only happens through quantity, but Nvidia's strategy is a masterclass of price discrimination and brand loyalty. An H100 can cost around 30,000, but an RTX 4060 just under 400. This shows that Nvidia is not just playing one market, it's dominating multiple tiers.
And then there's CUDA, Nvidia's software ecosystem. Once developers build for CUDA, switching to AMD or Intel becomes expensive and painful, kinda like trying to leave the Apple ecosystem. So again, Stackelberg's quantity only view not enough to explain this. Lastly, Stackelberg finds competitors as followers, but Nvidia's rivals aren't just waiting around. AMD is pushing back with techs like RDNA and 3D V-Cache, entering the game with Intel ARC going after gamers. These aren't passive followers, they are fighters, and they are closing the gap fast. So while Stackelberg helps explain how Nvidia leads the market, it doesn't capture the full complexity. In the real world, branding, product diversity, pricing strategy, and first innovation play just a big role. In short, Nvidia just playing the Stackelberg game, is playing its own game and rewriting the rules as it goes.
Presentation's not over yet, don't fall asleep.
Now, let's see some documentaries from experts about what's Nvidia and how this related to oligopoly tactics.
$1 trillion.
12 zeros means Nvidia's market cap is more than the individual GDPs of Russia, Mexico, Australia.
Feels very much like the iPhone moment for the AI industry.
It just took off after ChatGPT.
Facebook, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, which are developing AI chatbots.
And as the AI explosion continues to reverberate across the tech industry,
of course, that ends up pointing to one company as a clear beneficiary.
Customers told us they weren't interested, we built it anyways. We risked our entire company and we built it anyways. And the reason for that is because we believed it. We believed that if we built it, they might not come. But if we don't build it, they can't come.
You know, as much as you and I might picture trouble, you know, and harassment and racism and all sorts of things, Jensen, I never heard him express it that way. Yeah, he realized later it was a reform school. But what he always talked about was the opportunity to sit on his window ledge and reach out and grab an apple and sit on his window ledge and eating apples. You know, you say, but what did you do? Well, I cleaned floors with toothbrushes and I got beat up a bunch, but, you know, I got to eat apples. So it's really kind of interesting, this circumstance that many would have seen as oppressive and demeaning and demoralizing. You know, young Jensen found the good in and found motivation and drive.
Now just take a pause to think. A company that was on the brink of extinction in 1997 is now the third largest company in the world. By now, Nvidia had competed with more than 200 companies and was the only one to survive. So what was Nvidia doing so different than the other companies didn't? Now, according to Jensen, it was their perspective, and what he did after this crash was nothing short of downright crazy. He called up Sega and explains how their partnership was never going to work out, and then he proceeded to ask for the full payment even though they didn't deliver the product. Sega pays in full. No one knows why, and that gives them 6 months of headway.
Now Jensen proceeds to do a mass layoff, one of the only layoffs in the company's history, leaving only 35 of their best team members with one simple goal: to build the next generation GPU in about 6 months. Only that it was impossible. Even today, every year, you get only one iPhone, and sometimes they don't even change the chip, just a rebranded iPhone. Now, because building a new chip meant designing, manufacturing, testing, and repeating it for at least 2 times, maybe 3, to make sure you've covered all the bugs and issues that can come up during practical use. And each iteration takes at least 6 months. And they did not have that 6 months. So they started hunting for something that could speed up this process. And then they found a company which made computers for simulation. Looking at their technology, Nvidia realized it was similar to what they had, and they could use it to simulate chip design. If this could simulate the chip, they could fix all the bugs in just one single iteration. And that's exactly what they did. The chip designed launched in 6 months for the NV3 or the Riva 128, which gave rise to some of the most popular games in the industry. And after 3 successful iterations, they coined the term GPU for their chips, and they went public in 1999, valued at $600 million. This is what gave Nvidia their unfair advantage. Their resilience gave them a perspective that none of the competition has. They had realized 3D graphics in games uses the same technology as world simulation would need. Look at the water, physics, and everything. So if a company were to solve 3D graphics, they would also need to solve world simulation. By doing that, it would make them one of the most important technology companies in the world.
In 2012, a researcher named Alex used Nvidia GPUs to build one of the first successful AI software, or more accurately, an artificial neural network. Since then, Nvidia has been at the forefront of every technological breakthrough, including cloud computing, cryptocurrency, and now AI and deep learning. Now, today, every modern supercomputer owned by Google, Amazon, Facebook, and a whole lot of research centers are built using everyday GPUs. Yes, we can talk about how many billions of dollars they are getting in revenue, and how they are called the modern equivalent of selling shovels in a gold rush. But this doesn't explain the future. Nvidia's ability to have a perspective and go against all challenges to reach the goal has given them a superpower to reach gold rushes even before people find them. And that's how they sell shovels.
If you were magically 30 years old again today, you were going to Denny's and you're talking about starting a company,
I wouldn't do it. I know. And the reason for that is really quite simple. Building a company and building a video turned out to have been a million times harder than I expected it to be. Any of us expected it to be. And at that time, if we realized the pain and suffering and just how vulnerable you're going to feel and the challenges that you're going to endure, the embarrassment and the shame and, the list of all the things that go wrong, I don't think anybody would start a company. Nobody in their right mind would do it. And I think that that's kind of the superpower of an entrepreneur. They don't know how hard it is. And they only ask themselves, how hard can it be?
As of 23rd March 2024, Nvidia sits at a $2 trillion market cap, helping us make computers for the future.
In the gaming sector, Nvidia's GeForce GPUs stand out for their cutting-edge features like ray tracing and DLSS, Ray tracing brings realistic lighting and shadows, while DLSS uses AI to upscale their resolution, giving gamers higher performance without sacrificing their graphics, and these features create a premium gaming experience that competitors struggle to match. For AI and data centers, Nvidia's A100 and H100 GPUs are purpose-built for machine learning and high-performing computing. So these chips handle the massive amount of data with speed and efficiency, and making them go-to choice for training complex models in fields like healthcare, fintech, and language AI. Their ability to support large-scale processing is what sets them apart.
What truly makes Nvidia's product differentiation powerful is CUDA, their software platform. CUDA allows developers to write applications that run exclusively on Nvidia GPU. This offers three major advantages: better performance in AI, simulations, and scientific computing.
This combination of custom hardware and exclusive software creates a high-value, hard-to-replace system. It's not just about faster chips, it's about full-stack solution that solves specific industry problems. So, while competitors may try to match Nvidia's hardware, they can't easily replicate the ecosystems. That's why Nvidia isn't just surviving in competitive. So now we will explore how Nvidia employs price discrimination and strategic leadership in the GPU market. Let's begin with the basic. So, Noreen, could you explain what price discrimination entails?
Sure. Price discrimination involves charging different prices to different customer groups for the same product. Three types are: first degree, charging each customer their maximum willingness to pay. Second degree, price vary based on quantity or product version. Third degree, different prices for distinct customer segment. Nvidia primarily utilizes third-degree price discrimination by segmenting its market into consumers and enterprises.
For instance, the GeForce RTX 4060 can cost around $300, targeting gamers and individual users. For in contrast, the enterprise grade A100 and H100 Plus GPUs can cost over $10,000, catering to data centers and AI companies. So, the significant price difference isn't just solely due to production costs, but enterprise clients are less price sensitive and require higher performance, justifying the premium pricing.
So now, let's discuss Nvidia's strategic market position using the Stackelberg learning model.
Okay, so in the Stackelberg model, a leading firm sets its strategy first, and follower firm adjusts accordingly. Nvidia often acts as the leader in the GPU market.
So, by the first launch high-performance GPUs, Nvidia set industry standards, compelling competitors to follow its leads.
This first-mover advantage solidifies Nvidia's dominance, allowing it to maintain a significant market share.
So, in summary, Nvidia's use of the third-degree price discrimination and its role as a Stackelberg leader enabled it to effectively segment the market and maintain a competitive edge.
Now, let's look at the barriers to entry that helps Nvidia to stay ahead in the technology world. We'll be focusing on the three key points. First, R&D investment. Second, strong patent protection. And three, power of scale and brand reputation.
Nvidia spends billions on R&D every year to stay ahead in GPU and AI tech. This level of innovation is hard for new companies to match without similar funding and expertise. It's tough for newcomers to compete or even catch up.
You guys seem so interested in this topic. Let's find out more.
Nvidia protects their tech with their high patent portfolio. Okay.
Enough, Mr. West, please, no more today. Here we go again. Everybody saying what's not for him.
So this legal protection makes it risky and expensive for the newcomer who wants to enter the market without violating the patents.
With large-scale production, Nvidia cuts costs and reinvests in R&D and marketing. Plus, its strong brand, especially in gaming and AI, that creates customer loyalty. New firms not only need great technology, but must also win over loyal users, which is tough. In short, Nvidia stays on top due to its strong investment in R&D, a solid portfolio of patents, large-scale operations, and a highly trusted brand. These factors create strong barriers to entry, making it tough for other companies to compete or catch up. Together, they secure Nvidia's position as a market leader in the technology world.
Hey guys, wait! The video's not over yet!
So now, we will delve into the current landscape of graphics processing units GPUs and compare the pricing strategies of the three major players, which are Nvidia, AMD, and Intel, starting with entry-level GPU, mid-range GPU, and also high-end GPU. So let's start with the entry-level option suitable for 1080p gaming. In here, we have GPU model, brand, MSRP in USD, which stands for manufacturer's suggested retail price, and current price in USD. So the first one, we have Intel ARC A380, which priced around $188 USD. It's an affordable choice for basic gaming needs. The second one, we have AMD Radeon RX 6400, which available for approximately $109 USD, offering slightly better performance. And lastly, Nvidia GTX 1650 Super at about $169. It's still a popular choice among budget gamers. So moving on to the mid-range GPUs ideal for 1440p gaming. The first one, we have AMD Radeon RX 6800, which priced at $189 USD. It offers excellent performance per dollar. The second one, we have Nvidia RTX 3050 with 8GB, available for $209 USD. It supports ray tracing at lower settings. And the third one is the Intel ARC A770 with 16GB at $349 USD. It's a good option for memory-intensive tasks. And lastly, for high-end gaming and professionals workloads. The first one, we have AMD Radeon RX 7800 XT, which priced at $499 USD. It offers great performance at a competitive price. The second one is Nvidia RTX 4070 Super, available for $579 USD, ideal for 4K gaming with advanced ray tracing. Lastly, the third one is Nvidia RTX 4090 at $999 USD. It's a top-tier choice for extreme gaming and AI workloads. In summary, AMD continues to offer competitive pricing, especially in the mid-range segment, providing excellent value for gamers. Nvidia maintains its dominance in the high-end market with powerful GPUs, even at higher price points. Meanwhile, Intel, nearer to the discrete GPU market, is making strides with affordable options in the entry-level and mid-range categories. Understanding these pricing strategies is crucial for consumers making informed decisions and for analyzing market dynamics in the GPU industry.
Okay, now let us take a look at some articles regarding Nvidia. The most recent article is by Yahoo Finance, where it states that Nvidia has reclaimed the crown as the world's most valuable company, overtaking Microsoft, capitalizing at $3.444 trillion US. The next article by Lily Jamali states that Nvidia revenue surged despite tariff uncertainty. Nvidia reported a huge boost to its revenues in the first quarter of the year, with sales of its chips rising more than 69% compared to the same period in 2024. You might be wondering why. This is primarily due to the robust global demand for its AI chips and strategic international partnerships. Hold up, we got more articles coming! Nvidia says AI chip sales strong despite DeepSeek fears. Nvidia, the chip giant at the heart of the artificial intelligence AI boom, said its business remains strong despite fears of a bubble stirred by the emergence of Chinese AI firm DeepSeek last month.
Wait a minute!
Alright, let me explain it. The article reports that Nvidia's profits have surged, driven by soaring demands for its AI chips, despite ongoing US-China trade tensions and export restrictions. While the new US tariff aimed to curb tech exports to China, Nvidia continues to thrive by expanding into markets like Saudi Arabia and the UAE. CEO Jensen Huang emphasizes that AI is driving a new industrial revolution. Investors remain optimistic, and Nvidia's global influence keeps on growing. But what does this mean for Nvidia? The article signals that Nvidia remains incredibly strong despite geopolitical pressures like US-China trade tensions. Surging demands for AI chips, especially outside of China, keeps Nvidia profitable and growing. This positions the company as a global tech leader, less reliant on any single market. Its expansion into other regions like the Middle East shows strategic adaptability that protects it from trade risks. Okay, that's all for the article's report.
And the big question is, do we want AI's future shaped by competition or by just one company boardroom's decision? What do you guys think?
Nvidia isn't just selling chips, it's building the foundation of the AI era, and that foundation could crack if power isn't checked.
Finally, we've reached the end of this topic. Let's conclude.
Now, let's conclude by tying everything back to microeconomic theory, especially how micro frameworks help us understand both Nvidia's strategic decisions and the resulting market outcomes. From a microeconomics point of view, Nvidia operates in an oligopolistic market. This means the industry is dominated by a few large players like AMD, Intel, Google, Amazon, and of course Nvidia itself. In this kind of market, each firm's decision influences the others. So pricing, product releases, and R&D spending, none of these are made in isolation. So let's start with strategic decision making. Nvidia uses several key strategies that align with oligopoly theory. First, it engages in non-price competition instead of lowering prices. Nvidia differentiates itself through innovation, for example, the Blackwell B200 GPU and the CUDA software platform. Second, the firm builds high barriers to entry. Its ecosystem of hardware, software, and developer tools creates what we call lock-in effect, which prevent competitors and customers from switching easily. Third, Nvidia acts as first mover, constantly staying ahead in AI chip development. This gives it a dominant position when setting technological standards in the industry. Now, let's look at market outcome through a micro lens. Because of its dominant market share and product differentiation, Nvidia has significant pricing power, and this allows us to maintain high gross margin even when launching new expensive architecture. According to recent reports, its gross margin still sits above 70%, which is far higher than average for the semiconductor industry. In classic oligopoly models, like Cournot or Bertrand competition, we often assume that firms react to one another's output or price decisions. In reality, Nvidia set itself apart by playing long-term games, investing billions in R&D to stay ahead of rivals. It doesn't just respond to competitors, it shapes the future of the market. Another market outcome is reduced consumer choice over time. Due to increased market consolidation, as Nvidia becomes the dominant infrastructure provider for AI, other firms, including cloud platform and autonomous vehicle developers, become dependent on its chip and architecture. This leads to vendor locked-in, a key trait in markets with high switching costs, and at the same time, Nvidia's scale also create positive externalities for the broad economy. Its innovations in AI hardware have enabled breakthroughs in healthcare, transportation, finance, and even scientific research, contributing to overall productivity gain. So, to wrap it up, macroeconomic frameworks like oligopoly theory, game theory, and barriers to entry provide powerful tools to understand why Nvidia behaves the way it does. And how that behavior shapes market outcomes. They help us to see that this isn't just about making and selling chips, it's about strategic positioning in a complex, interdependent market, and that is why studying macroeconomics is so essential for analyzing firms like Nvidia today.
Gotta represent. Chase a check, never chase a bitch. Mask on, fucking mask on. Mask on, fucking mask on. Percocet, Miley Percocet. Chase a chick, never chase a bitch.
People with very high expectations have very low resilience. And unfortunately, resilience matters in success. I don't know how to teach it to you except for I hope suffering happens to you. To this day, I use the phrase pain and suffering inside our company with great glee. Boy, this is going to cause a lot of pain and suffering. And I mean that in a happy way, because you want to train, you want to refine the character of your company. You want greatness out of them. And greatness is not intelligence. Greatness comes from character. And character isn't formed out of smart people. It's formed out of people who suffered. I wish upon you ample doses of pain and suffering.
Alright, so after all the long discussions, we believe that we have fully understood the importance of Nvidia in the economy.
I agree with you, Putri. How about others?
I also believe that after all these discussions, we can apply all these discussions into the macroeconomic theory.
Okay, that's all from us.
Thank you.